The surveillance video we are about to show you may be tough for some to watch. In this video, you see the man who law enforcement sources say is Navy recruiter Greg Hightower firing several shots. You see the Naval Criminal Investigative Service agent run, trying to get away, then the suspect fires several more shots at him. Authorities say the NCIS agent was at the Hightower home to investigate allegations of domestic abuse. Before the suspect shot the agent, authorities say he shot and killed his 34-year-old wife, who was holding one of their children.
We would like to send our condolences out to the family of Takara Hightower. She is the wife of Greg Hightower, and he shot and killed her along with shooting an NCIS officer. You know, this domestic violence is really out of control, and mental health needs to be checked. And also sometimes we don't know how far we're pushing a person over the edge. I don't know what happened with this couple. I don't know what happened in their relationship. What made him snap to want to go on a shooting spree. But now he is deceased. She is deceased. An NCIS officer was shot, and their children will not have parents now. So we want to just send prayers out to the family, because I know this has got to be hard, and maybe we should turn our attention to domestic violence and figure out what we could do to not participate in it. You know, sometimes you need to walk away when it gets too hot for a conversation. You know, walk away. Go somewhere else and cool down, instead of getting to this point where you want to allegedly beat on your wife, or, you know, at the end of the day, shoot and kill your wife. And now she's dead and you're dead too. Again, prayers out to this family and to their children. And here goes the rest of the story. And another story also about domestic violence. Welcome to Straddled Events. On this channel, we bring you the truth. Sometimes the truth is quite ugly, unbearable, and you just don't want to deal with it. But on this channel, you're going to get it anyway. You are straddling between the fence of good versus evil, right versus wrong. And on this channel, we're going to tell you to do better. Let's go. Please subscribe to the channel. It is free. Like or dislike the videos. Thanks.
Surveillance video shows a Navy recruiter shooting an NCIS agent moments after authorities say the man shot and killed his wife. We were live on the air as this story was breaking around this time last night in Humboldt.
ABC 13's Courtney Carpenter is there live now after speaking with somebody who knew the suspect well. Courtney, this is such a tragic story.
Yeah, Eric and Erica, it really is. And law enforcement sources have identified the suspect as Greg Hightower. Earlier this afternoon, I spoke on the phone to someone who says he knows Greg well, met him through the Navy, that Greg was even mentoring him for the past few years. He says he's shocked. He never expected anything like this to happen. The surveillance video we are about to show you may be tough for some to watch. In this video, you see the man who law enforcement sources say is Navy recruiter Greg Hightower firing several shots. You see the Naval Criminal Investigative Service agent run, trying to get away, then the suspect fires several more shots at him. Authorities say the NCIS agent was at the Hightower home to investigate allegations of domestic abuse. Before the suspect shot the agent, authorities say he shot and killed his 34-year-old wife, who was holding one of their children.
This child's an orphan now that's going to be without mom and dad.
Hightower was shot and killed after authorities say he shot at Precinct 4 deputies outside of his mom's apartment in northwest Harris County.
I hear the bullet.
This woman says she's new to this Humble neighborhood and didn't know the couple well, but took care of their child until family arrived after the injured NCIS agent ran to her house after the shooting.
I was with the little kid when all the craziness.
Do you know how old?
This afternoon, we spoke to a man who says he's been mentored by Hightower for the past 4 years. He confirms this is a photo of Hightower pictured in a newspaper article that ran a week ago today about him buying a motel to renovate in his Illinois hometown. He says what happened left him shocked and confused. Now, according to the sheriff's office, there's been 2 calls for service out here to this home. One domestic violence call back in July where no charges ended up being filed, and then another just 2 days before this deadly shooting happened where the wife called in to ask how to file a restraining order.
Breaking now, a woman is dead. A man, possibly a naval criminal investigator, shot and critically hurt. The suspect shot and killed by deputies after allegedly opening fire on them at a separate scene.
We want to show you where all the chaos is unfolding. It started on Tulich's Run in the Balmoral community in Humble. The suspect was killed a good distance away on the northwest side.
ABC 13's Daniela Hurtado just got to the scene there in Humble moments ago. Daniela, what's the latest?
Yeah, we just got to the scene, just finished talking to Sheriff Gonzalez about the latest developments. He confirms one woman is dead here. Her husband was actually the one accused of shooting and killing her, then leaving the scene. He also confirms another man, an NCIS investigator, was also shot here. The sheriff tells us that NCIS agents were out here interviewing the wife about a domestic situation between her and her husband. The husband wasn't home at the time, according to the sheriff, but once they saw a car going up and down the street, the agents started getting skeptical, and that's when the husband rushed into the home and is accused of killing his wife, and his wife was also holding their child. I want to take you to Sky Eye video right now of the scene that we have. Basically what the sheriff is telling us is that, again, all of this is very preliminary. They have those 2 scenes right now. The NCIS investigator was taken to the hospital. He was in serious condition, but as of 10 minutes ago, when I talked to the sheriff on camera, he confirms that person, that man, is now in fair condition, so he is doing better. Again, 1 person dead, 1 person at the hospital, and that suspect has been killed, according to the sheriff's office. I want to take you to the sound from the sheriff. Again, we just talked to him about how the situation unfolded. This is what we know at this hour.
The female inside the house, when our units arrived, found her deceased, still grabbing or holding on to her infant child. They were able to rescue the child and get him out to safety. The agents ran house to house trying to find some assistance, and a Good Samaritan thankfully opened the door, let the agents in, stabilize the situation briefly until an ambulance could get here and transport.
Are at the second scene in northwest Harris County. That's on Mist Lane. The suspect was shot and killed there by Precinct 4 deputies. The sheriff confirms that the suspect was approached by deputies out there, and he started shooting at them. They shot at him, and that ended up killing the suspect. I'm sure you're wondering about that baby. You might be hearing those cries as we're giving our live report right now. That baby's being held by law enforcement right now. We have started seeing family members show up, according to the sheriff, and we're still waiting to get more information on who this woman was and also the development on how the NCIS investigator is doing. We'll stay on top of this. We'll get those answers.
My wife was a wonderful human being, wonderful mother, daughter, granddaughter.
A convicted killer choked back tears today, moments before a judge sentenced him to at least 33 years in prison and up to 100 years, the maximum penalty for murdering his pregnant wife. Richard Gitchelar strangled his wife Amber, a beloved Kentwood Middle School teacher. Targeted investigator Susan Samples obtained police reports that reveal the nightmare behind closed doors and how Amber herself helped expose her husband's murderous rage.
Emergency. My wife she's not breathing. She's not breathing. What's the address? And how old is your wife? She's purple. How old is your wife? Dead. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. Don't hang up.
Richard Gitchelar would later tell police he'd gone to bed that night on a downstairs couch because the couple's bedroom was too hot. But in the middle of the night, he said he awakened to the cries of their baby, whose crib was in the couple's bedroom. When the cries didn't stop, Gitchelar said he went to check on the baby and found his wife, who was pregnant with their third child, dead in the couple's bed.
We are sending the paramedics to help you now, okay? Need you to stay on the line. I want you to loosen anything that's around her neck and then tell me if she's breathing.
She's not breathing. She's purple. Her eyes are bulged. Dead.
Okay, do you think she's beyond help?
I do.
She was 3 days short of her 33rd birthday, a wife and mom who lived her faith every day. Amber Gitchelar taught English as a second language to middle schoolers in Kentwood, a passion sparked by church mission trips to Guatemala. Those who knew Amber say she put God first, then family, especially her beloved girls, 2.5 and 8 months old, when they lost their mom.
Sir.
Are there any kids in the home, or is it just you and her?
No, my daughter's right next to us. She's right here.
No, I need you to take her out of the room. Sir, I know. Listen to me a minute. Do you think she did this on purpose, or was it an accident?
Richard told dispatch his wife of 9 years had accidentally strangled herself with a sweatshirt.
She had a sweatshirt around her neck and she's not breathing.
What he told police that night obviously wasn't the truth.
Assistant Prosecutor Rachel Wustman said the autopsy made it clear someone had choked Amber to death. She had fresh abrasions, and Richard changing stories, none of which added up, said friends and family, including Amber's sister, who lived with the couple but was gone that night. She later told police Richard only slept on the couch if he and Amber were fighting, and he never woke up in the middle of the night because the meds he took for his mental health issues knocked him out. The meds made him angry too, which is why he took them before bed and why Amber jumped to care for the girls at night.
He said what made him finally wake up and get up was hearing this baby cry. And again, her sister said he never got up with the baby. That just wasn't what he did.
Indeed, friends told police Richard did so little around the house, Amber basically had 3 children, the 2 girls and Richard. One thing he did do, despite Amber's vehement protests, was watch porn, which prompted this angry text exchange a week before the murder. And when Amber's sister asked her what she wanted for birthday, Amber replied, a new husband. 2 days later, she was dead, and police, said Wustman, had a prime suspect.
They said, we've never had this situation before where everyone around these 2 is saying he did it.
Richard's own father told police there was a 98% chance his son was guilty. Richard's sister thought he flew into one of his rages and could not gain control. And his brother told police as a child, Richard threatened to burn down the house and kill the family pets. Still, despite Richard's violent history, it seems no one saw the murder coming. No one, that is, except for Amber herself.
What they ended up finding, though, Amber had written down a couple of things in a notebook pad.
Inside the console of Amber's minivan, 6 loose-leaf papers turned smoking gun. The woman Richard thought he had silenced would in the end be a star witness in her own murder. Amber wrote, "I have literally thought to myself, am I safe asleep next to him? Would he ever kill me?" She wrote that Richard had beaten her, kicked and punched her, threw a mug, smashed her cell phones, punched a glass shower door, and smashed a counter with a hammer. It's clear, though, this was a secret diary.
What happens behind closed doors, people don't necessarily see, and when they're both able to cover it up pretty well, you don't really see how bad it's getting.
Amber was very strong, very independent. She was very confident.
She was also exceptionally close to her mom, Amy DeGraff, who never saw any sign of violence nor the danger her daughter faced.
For some reason, she chose to stay in a situation that obviously cost her life. And that is the mystery.
I think Amber did a really good job of covering for him. And probably because the kind of person she was, she was just so loving and caring, and I think a fixer, and she always wanted him to be better and covered for him.
Rachel Wussman doesn't know why the violence turned deadly that night. Because the state could not prove premeditation, Gitchelar pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and intentionally assaulting a pregnant person.
Did you strangle your wife and kill her?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that was intentional, was that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you knew that she was pregnant at the time, is that correct?
I did, Your Honor.
Outside the courtroom the day of the plea, an incredible show of grace by Amy DeGraff to Richard Gitchelar's father.
I'm sorry, George, that I don't know why that happened. It's senseless.
We're all just broken by this. We're just broken.
But the DeGraffs are determined to honor Amber and God by helping others.
That is our biggest hope, by speaking out about this and by sharing Amber's story, that if someone is in a relationship like this, that please know it could cost you your life. If you are there in that situation, please, please seek help.